Nice to meet you, Tino. How old are you? 4. Tino's 4. And where are you from, Tino? Hale in Cornwall. Okay. So that's a big drive to get to here. So was I speaking to, was that your... There's a great little piece actually that we were doing this morning for the filming for All Stars Cricket, thank you, about the spirit of cricket, and that'll be...
Well, I think when it becomes and you hear about personal abuse about families, it's just over the top. I don't see there's any place at all. You know, if you're trying to take a player out of the present moment by mentioning his technique or mentioning a failure from the previous game or mentioning the fact that if he fails in this game there's a chance he'll lose his place in the side, that's the game. You've got to be able to cope with that. But when I hear that it's getting personal, you know, and it's getting close to the bone in terms of family life, that's where the line crosses. And I think it's important that people who are administrating, you know, the umpires out in the middle, if they hear anything, you know, that's why I'm all for red and yellow cards. You know, let's have them. You know, it's not something that I'd have said 10 years ago, but if it has got to that stage that you need a yellow card just to send the shockwave, and well, I'm all for it, as long as it's the message and as long as the players realise that there is that line that they're not allowed to cross. Oh, no question. I was more shocked when I heard sandpaper. You know, when it was sticky tape, I kind of thought, oh wait a minute, I can understand that in a way. You have tape on your fingers. You know, why wouldn't you have sticky tape? But when I saw and heard sandpaper, I thought, wait a minute. You know, there's certain aspects of the game where, you know, you go out onto the field. You know, my year it was sweets. You know, but we've got to be honest. There's a grey area that there's, you know, sun cream that you put on your face when the sun's out, lip balm that you have on your lips, sweat from your brow. You polish the ball, so things are going to get on that ball to polish the ball, and that's the grey area which I'd change. I'd allow that to happen. Clearly, you don't want someone sticking the finger straight on the sweet on the ball. That's probably not within the limits of the game. But you know, how do you control what I've just mentioned? But you can control the fact that you're not allowed to take objects onto the pitch, which is what Australia did. They took sandpaper out into the middle. How they ever felt they were going to get away with it, no idea. But you know, that's the line that they crossed, and I think that's why everyone's kind of spoken out, you know, at times a little bit harshly. But I think it was just the message of what they've been sending to teams for a couple of years, which has kind of hit home around the world, that they've been almost telling teams how to play the game, yet they've not been quite playing the game in the manner of which they've been talking about. So I guess that's why a lot of the people around the world came down on them quite harsh. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, Steve Smith has dealt with it after that initial press conference at the end of the day's play. You know, I think he's dealt with it as well as he could have done. I think he's been open, honest, obviously very emotional. It was a moment of madness in his regard, because he was a captain that kind of walked past and just thought, yeah, it seems a good idea at that moment. Clearly, it was the worst idea that he's ever thought of and allowed in his team. But you know, I think the way that he's kind of accepted the ban, you know, he's come out today and tweeted and just said, look, I accept it, I'm not going to appeal. I understand that I need a year out of the game. You know, in a year's time, you know, those that are in the game know that he's a decent guy. and I think the game will open their arms back to him and make sure that he's welcome back into the game in 12 months' time. And you know, for England, he'll be here for the Ashes series, which again will be a great spectacle. But the game needs to look at itself. Test cricket in general, you know, in terms of the acting of the players on the pitch, to just administrators getting it right. We just seen a test match in New Zealand where they knew there was going to be dew in the morning, they knew that there was going to be bad light, yet they didn't do anything about the playing regulations. And things like this that you look at within the game of Test cricket. Test cricket isn't growing at the minute, it's declining. So those that are actually managing the game, they have to realise that there's things that can be changed. There's certain aspects of Test cricket that can be improved, and you know, they've got to do it now, because there are less and less watching and less talking about it, and that's sad for me to say, because I'm the biggest Test cricket fan of them all. It's the greatest format, and we have to protect it.